Pittsburgh Steelers fans, we have a treat for you today. If you've been following the Pittsburgh Steelers for over 2 decades, you may recall a player by the name of Carnell Lake.
That's right.
Well, his son is a 2022 NFL draft prospect, and he was kind enough to take the time to join us here on the Steelers Draft Fix podcast. So without further ado, we're delighted to be joined by 2022 NFL draft prospect and UCLA safety, Quentin Lake. Quentin, thank you so much for coming on the show today. Let me just begin by asking, how is your offseason going so far, and how well is your preparation for the pro day coming?
Yeah, so no, my offseason has been great. I've got countless opportunities, and that first started off with the East-West Shrine game, which Eric Galco, he did an amazing job setting that up in Vegas. And it was about a week-long kind of tenure over there. Got to meet with, a couple coaches, and then a couple of scouts and all that stuff, do interviews. And it was, a good first initial kind of like briefing of, what the NFL has for a lot of guys, a lot of, NFL prospects. Obviously training. So I was actually training down in San Diego at Exos down there. But the whole process has been great. And then obviously got the opportunity to go to the combine. So I was kind of checking off all the boxes. So that being, all-star games, training, combine, pro day, and then, eventually the draft. But it's been awesome. It's been great. No complaints here. Yeah.
Man, that's cool. As Steelers fans, we've been following your draft profile and situation a little more closely, obviously, because of the connections from your dad playing. But, personally, I thought watching the scouting combine that you were very fluid and your movement skills are top notch. And I wanted to see, kind of based on the combine and what you're planning to do at your pro day, is that something you're trying to highlight, is your movement skills, or do you have other goals that you want to reach as a NFL prospect?
Yeah. No, and that's a great question. Yeah, I definitely wanted teams to understand that I'm a fluid player. I think that was a big footwork and technique is some, I kind of, it's important to me. It's important to my game. And it kind of shows, especially this last season, being able to get in and out of my breaks, being able to be efficient, being able to, have good change of direction was all things I wanted to, check the boxes off for these teams. So especially when I got the, opportunity to show that off in the combine, I just really wanted to make sure that these teams understood that, I'm very efficient when I'm getting out of my breaks and a very fluid player. But yeah, that was definitely something that I emphasized. And even, going to the pro day, a lot of it has to do with, making sure that, these teams understand what kind of player I am. They have the tape, they kind of get an understanding of, what I am as a player. But more so, I want them to understand me as Quentin Lake. I think that's another important thing going through the process is, having teams understanding that, I'm a kid of good character, don't have any off the field issues. And then we'll do anything to help the team win. So although the football aspect is important, I more so want to show these teams, hey, we're bringing in, not only a guy that can help our team win, but it can also, create good locker room morale, can do things outside of the organization that will help the organization win as well. So it's a combination of both on and off.
Awesome.
Now, one question I've always liked to figure out when I'm talking to a prospect or really anybody in general, who's your favorite all-time NFL player and why?
Yeah. I am an old school player, like, especially with my dad being played in the league, you get exposed to a lot of older guys that really revolutionize the game. So one of the players that I got the chance to meet him actually was awesome. Rod Woodson, another Steeler.
Oh yeah.
He's, and it would be easy to say my dad, obviously, but now I'm gonna go with Rod just because, one, he almost played 2 decades in the league, which is almost unheard of, especially at the defensive back position. And then another thing was that, he was so successful at an early age, and so dominant. He did, he returned, punts. He was a lockdown cornerback for, however long. So just kind of looking at his game and looking at his fundamentals and technique is some, I wanted to translate. Obviously, the game has changed, a lot since he's played, and even when my dad played. But I think taking the physicality, especially from players back then, the physicality and kind of the mindset that they have, thank God I had the opportunity to talk to him. So he kind of gave me a little insight of, what the mindset is, to last so long in the NFL. That's one guy I really aspire to kind of mock my game off.
That's neat. And I don't know if you know this, but on the NFL Network broadcast, he actually talked about you after your on the field drills were over. So
that's awesome. Now he's known me since I even remember. Like he'd known me since I was like a baby. So it's kind of surreal.
Yeah, that's super neat. I wanted to ask you specifically about some of the traits that that your dad displayed as a player, and if you as a prospect and as you've grown up in the game of football, are there things that your dad did that you want to mirror as you pursue your NFL career? Or are you really trying to make a name for Quentin Lake as a standalone type NFL player?
Yeah. I think the legacy of my dad is always going to stick with me. Regardless of where I go. It even followed me in college.
Sure.
So it's not more so kind of separating. At this point, I think it's just embracing it. I think that's important. But a lot of, his game was he was so opportunistic when it came to like opportunities on the field, whether that was, trying to get a strip sack, interception. The Steelers utilized him in a lot of good ways, whether that was blitzing, playing in the back end, covering slots, all that stuff. So he was a versatile player. And that's one of the things I want to do, especially going into the league, because I feel I can do it. I can cover, I can blitz, I can play deep, I can play in the box. I can do a lot of things that adds value to my stock, which would really help a team say, maybe we're lacking in this area on our defense. Hey, Quentin, can you do this? Or, we need another, we have another job spot open. Hey, can you do this? And I feel like I can just, I'm a plug and play player, wherever I need to put, I can play and I can do it successfully. And I think that's one of the things, like I said, is what my dad did well. So that's kind of what, I take from him is, being versatile and being able to do a lot of different things, but do them well and do them, almost as if you're playing, you're starting at the position, if that makes sense. So
sure, absolutely.
Now, your dad obviously made a big impact on this team for many years. What is one thing that you have learned, whether it be on the field or off the field, that you've learned from him that has helped get you to this point in your NFL or soon to be NFL career?
Yeah. I'll do it on and off the field. So, and I'll start with the off the field. Off the field stuff is, you have to talk to people and treat everybody with respect. I think you don't ever know who you're interacting with, especially being a, potentially well-known player. People always kind of have an eye on you and they're always looking. So making sure that, you're being respectful to everybody, whether that's the staff, whether that's the coaches, whether that's the fans. I think it's important to really leave an impact on people of how you are as a person. And then for the on the field stuff is, work hard and put in the work. The NFL, it changes so much. And you have people moving in and out all the time, but to last, you have to put the work in. And that's one of the things that I'm going to continue to do. And I did in college is, continue to work hard, continue to keep putting the extra hours in so I can be consistent and maintain a spot in the NFL. So.
Sure. So when you're not doing all of that, when you're not working your tail off and doing what it takes to be a great NFL player, what will you do for fun? I like to go golfing. That's my pastime. So I don't know if you're a golfer or what you like to do, but what's your pastime?
Yeah. So I'm a foodie.
Okay. Yeah.
Especially in LA, because obviously I, went to UCLA. But they have a ton of great restaurants, and me and my teammates, we always trying to find that next best restaurant, whether that's a whole or, even sometimes fine dining. Obviously, that hurts the pockets a little bit, but it's still fun to kind of go out and kind of find new restaurants and, enjoy food from different cultures and all that stuff. And then obviously, other than being a foodie, I game, I love video games. That's kind of just what I do in my pastime.
Sure.
And I grew up on it. So
cool.
Yeah.
You have a favorite game that you play?
Yeah. Right now, so obviously Call of Duty.
Okay. Yeah. The classics.
Yeah, but I'm actually playing a game. It's called Elden Ring. I don't know if you guys heard, but
Just came out, right?
it's pretty popular, so I'm trying to get into that. It's a little different, but it seems like it's fun. So
Okay, cool.
Well, just so our listeners are aware, Quentin is a very balanced guy as well. He was named to the 2020 and 2021 Pac-12 Fall Academic Honor Roll. So he's not just a good football player, he's a diligent student as well. And that's important. And I'm sure these NFL teams are taking notice of that. And when you watch him on tape, and I have watched several games of his on tape when doing some scouting reports for the website, you can tell that intelligence does translate to the field. Very good communicator in the back end, just very good instinctually. Now, would you like to tell the listeners what you've been kind of studying at UCLA and maybe give a little bit of background on why you decided to study in that area?
yeah, so at UCLA, I got my bachelor's in sociology, and then I'm working on my master's in education, and then I'll probably go finish that, whenever I have some time in the off season later on. But one of the reasons why I wanted to study sociology was it was pretty broad, but mainly due to the fact that it worked well with football. I knew football was going to be something to take seriously, and getting into classes like neuroscience and astrophysics and all that, like and engineering and stuff like that, it takes a toll on how much effort you can put into football. You can't really balance your academics and athletics as well as you want to. So sociology allowed me. It was a broader spectrum. It can lead to a lot of different jobs, which I've heard of. So I thought I could utilize that a lot better than, especially if I wanted to do football, I could utilize that degree better than something I would only really be doing like part-time, like a more specific degree. And then obviously, since I graduated early, I decided to get my master's because I got a 5th year in college. And then that would lead me to, potentially be a GM or a coach or something like that and kind of transition to that. So, academics has been, a crucial part of my life. Obviously, my mom kind of harped on it growing up and stuff like that. But, luckily enough, I really locked down on my academics to, get a degree. And I'm thankful for that. That was probably one of my highlights in college was getting my degree. But, I did a good job balancing academics and athletics for sure.
Nice. Always listen to mama, right?
Yeah, no doubt. No doubt
That's
about
right.
that.
Okay, so you guys had 2 really impressive receivers there at UCLA. Greg and Kyle Phillips. Those 2 guys were a main part of your offense. Can you give us a little bit of the experience covering those guys in practice and how you think their games will translate to the NFL as well?
Yeah, I think, and me personally, I think a lot of UCLA guys just translate well into the NFL. You have got Eric Kendricks, Anthony Barr, Chris Barnes, Kenny Clark. There are a lot of UCLA guys that have success and are still having success in the NFL. But specifically for Kyle and Greg, they're going to dominate. Kyle has, and especially now you're seeing it a little bit more in the NFL, you're seeing a lot of shiftier, quick twitch receivers, guys like Hunter Renfrow and Cooper Kupp, they're dominant now. So, a guy like him, he's just going to dominate as well. He's super quick twitchy, good hands, has a good understanding of the offense. So when I was guarding, it was tough, but it also helped me, especially because, he's rare, he's one of a kind. So you don't see that a lot. Which really helped me with, when I was covering slots, it made stuff easier when I got to the game, especially going against him in practice. And then Greg, on the other hand, same thing. You're getting like almost like a unicorn out of him, like a guy that can block, is fast, good hands, good routes, efficient. Like you're getting these hybrid tight ends. So kind of, I was almost experienced like this new age of football where I'm getting like tight ends that are running super fast, but also physical. And then you got super shifty wide receivers. So you're getting like almost like the best of both worlds in practice. And then it really helped me in the game because since you don't see it a lot, you're kind of used to the hardest stuff. So when, you see kind of like generic stuff, it was like, oh, okay, this is easy. But yeah, they're going to tear it up when they get to the NFL. I can bet on that.
Final question before we let you get out of here. How would you feel about being drafted by the organization that your dad built his legacy with and being able to begin your own legacy with that same organization, of course, that being the Pittsburgh Steelers. How would you feel about being drafted by the Pittsburgh Steelers?
I would love it. That would be full circle. It would really be full circle. And then just kind of me going back to the place where I was born, experiencing. I mean, it would be awesome. I know the Steelers fan base is probably the best fan base in the league. You guys travel well, always show up to the home games, got your terrible towels going crazy in the stands and all that. So, it would be a blessing. It really would. I would enjoy it. I'd be smiling from, ear to ear if that happened. Yeah, who knows, obviously, but no, it would be awesome. It would, yeah. I mean, I know my family would be happy. My family would be excited. I know my dad would really be, it would be crazy for him too, kind of surreal for him too, but no, it'd be awesome. That would be full circle. Almost like a dream.
Yeah, man. I, as a Steelers fan, I think I can speak for most of us when we say we would welcome you with open arms and absolutely enjoy keeping the Lake legacy in the black and gold. So, hey, I want to really thank you for coming on and doing this with us. It was a blast. Like I said, nice to meet you and get to know you a little bit. The man that we'll see on TV a lot in the next few years. Andrew, did you have any final thoughts?
I'll just follow him on Twitter at Quentin_Lake. That's Quentin_Lake. And again, obviously we don't know where you're going to go. Obviously we're hoping it's the Steelers, but best wishes wherever you go on your NFL endeavors.
Yeah, appreciate it. Thank you so much, Andrew. Thank you so much, Jeremy. It was awesome.
Yes, sir. Well, Steeler Nation, we're going to take a quick break and then we will be right back and we'll talk a little bit more about the NFL draft.